world, and welcome back to Gridiron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ryan, and I'm joined by three fellows. Two of them are laughing. One of them no longer has the ability to hear. Brett Colson, Donnie Peters, and Mo Noir, the resident moose himself. I'm playing a road game, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Those of you in the Discord, I haven't posted it yet, but my setup today, I'm in a bedroom. I've got my mixer here. Apparently, it is way too loud for these three fellas. I played the music, and Brett nearly fell through the 41-38 poster behind him. That's how loud it was. So we're going to go no sounders. I'll put some music in post. Man, just another shitty week for the collective. 1-4 in the contest, despite multiple hosts going 3-2. We had one host go 2-3, and then another go 1-4. And I gotta say, you guys made fun of me because I hadn't checked the injury reports. You guys said I was mailing it in. He's just down under, drinking Fosters. I went 3-2 with two of the biggest leverage sides of the season. I told you Drew Lock was going to start. I told you Mason Rudolph was going to take snaps for the Steelers. I nailed last week, and I'm locked in and ready to nail week 16. Mo, you seem like you have
a winner on the card, though.
Well, I did put a winner on the card.
Well, actually, that's the problem. Not locked in enough to be up at an hour where you can get a hold of Donnie.
Well. For those of you out there, I said it on this podcast that if Davis Mills was playing, so maybe I'll give Donnie some credit there because it wasn't Davis Mills, it was GOAT Case Keenum who gets the start for the Houston Texans in that outright win as dogs, as the entire world lined up to pile something Levis as a favorite in pro football. I told Donnie in the chat. I replied to him on iMessage, so he gets a notification. And yet, still the commies made it on the card. And because Goat Brissett tried to do it, but Ron Rivera just wasting time down multiple scores at the goal line, just running straight and then not running plays for a full 40 seconds. I've literally never seen it in my life. We don't get the cover. By the way, I didn't get into anything off the top of normal. If you're watching this on YouTube and you saw these idiots laughing, please subscribe to the channel, like this page. Listeners, 5 stars only on your podcatcher of choice, like Matthew Stafford, unlike Cooper Kupp, complete hack, dropping multiple touchdowns against the New Orleans Saints. DP, you're just yucking it up over there.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I fucked up the card last week. This is why I don't proxy for like multiple people because I'm paranoid I'm going to get things wrong. You also
always put the card in like multiple hours early. Like we're never near deadline whenever we post.
Because in case something goes wrong, like and it's like drastically wrong, then I just need to go down there and like fucking beg Jeff Benson to let me change the fucking card. Like that needs to happen. Well, that happened one year for Super Contest. I did that one year. I drove down there. They let me change it.
Wow.
Why can't you edit it once it's in?
You should be able to edit it once it's in. Like unless it's an earlier game. But yeah, I don't see why. It's probably because the app is ghetto.
I was going to see.
These apps in Nevada are the worst.
Have you seen the screenshot that Donnie sends us from the app? Like, it's just like text.
I mean, the apps
and some colors.
Today I went into the Circa app to look at the MVP odds currently. Like they don't rearrange them. They're just in the order that they originally were. So like whoever's on top based on like I'm assuming alphabetical order or whoever was the favorite to start the season is just on top with like he might even be removed. Like he might not have odds because he just doesn't have odds anymore. And then like Brock Purdy's like way the F down the list somewhere. You know, like in the middle, and you have to like it's all out of it's
minus 300 by all the plus 10,000.
Yeah, it's a disaster. These apps here in Nevada.
Rogers is still 6, but there's just an NA next to
it. My local book, the local casino by me, just like they made a new app. They literally for their sports betting, they made an entirely new app. You have to download an entirely new app from the store. You have to then migrate your balance from one app to the other. Yeah.
No.
And I went to do it. The other day, and it's like, you need your social security, you need your driver license number. I'm like, I don't have any of this fucking shit right now. What the hell is happening?
Yeah,
like,
turn around,
I just
spread
want to
your
bet the
cheeks.
first TD scorer. Can I just bet the tight end to score the first TD? Why are you doing this to me?
A brand new app. I mean, there is a such thing as background migration, people. It's not that difficult. Week 16, though, looks quite difficult. We don't know what we're doing either. We had an extremely brief discussion pre-record. Are we going for losers? Are we going for leverage? Are we picking winners? I think in our analysis, we should at least give the people some real takes on the game. Even if you're going for leverage, even if you're going for booby, if you have real American dollars on any of these sides or have any leans with regards to the current number or the total, I think we should give the people some relevant information if you have it. But for us, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to do. Donnie was saying we're 3 points from booby for this quarter, which I think is extremely difficult to make up in 3 weeks, especially because there's only one person getting paid. Is that correct? Yeah, that's extremely difficult. Man, if
We're not playing for anything. Let's just
so
pick
annoying.
games and have fun.
Okay,
Like,
all right,
you know,
then I might have to make some adjustments on the fly because, yeah, Donnie did the same. I picked some random leverage sides, but let's start with a game where I would play a sound if it wasn't going to blow Brett's ears off.
it's like
The New York
still-
Jets hosting the Washington, formerly racial slurs, formerly football team, now commies. And we got a DM from our very good friend, ODB, the original David Baker, who said that he will eat his shoe if he cannot predict my selection for this week. He said that it would be the slurs. It is not the slurs. If we were going for full leverage, I don't know how you don't pick the Jets, because who in their right mind is going to select the Jets as favorites in the year 2023?
With Trevor Siemian.
That's
Not just the Jets, but the Jets with Trevor Siemian.
Yeah.
Who just embarrassed himself on TV.
The clown Jets who cut maybe their only Pro Bowl player this year. Granted, it's a fullback to make room for a quarterback that is not playing this year in Aaron Rodgers. What a way to do the guy who's probably doing the dirtiest job on the team for a loser franchise. That's how you do him. You literally cut him, which is fantastic stuff. From a real betting perspective, outside of the contest, where I think the Jets are a good leverage side, I don't know how you can possibly look at yourself in the mirror and not bet the Commanders getting points, the Commanders money line here. I don't care if it's Sam Howell. I don't care if it's Jacoby Brissett. How do the Jets score in this game? We've seen what Trevor Siemian does under Semmer, and we've seen what this Jets defense has done these last couple of weeks, up against the wall with absolutely no offense to save them. This is an embarrassment of a football team, and they should never, ever, 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 ever be laying points. Ever. Ever. DP, I'm assuming you just click Jets for leverage sake.
Yeah, who the hell's going to click on the Jets? I mean, I just said, okay, fine, let's go. I mean,
Brett and Mo both have the Commanders. Brett, I'll go with you first. You were one of the last holdouts for this Jets team. I feel like Mo came back a little bit, but I feel like Brett was holding the flag strong for Gangrene, but ultimately had to wave the white
Well,
flag.
especially with Zach, I can't do it anymore. But yeah, this is simple. Like, don't lay a field goal with bad teams. And what are the Jets playing for at this point? Like, the defensive unit is fine, but how motivated are they at this point when the offense can't score a single point? If there is an opportunity for the Jets to move the ball, it is this game. But I don't know. I think Jacoby Brissett is an upgrade over Howell. And this should be south of a field goal.
Well, isn't
for sure.
Sam Howell
I don't know if we're going to
starting?
get
Hold on a
Brissett. I
second.
hope.
Yeah, this is one of the QB conundrums this
I don't know.
week. Is it Brissett or is it Howell? What is Ron Rivera doing? What is he doing? What is the point of his existence in the National Football League, right? He's a lame duck coach. He's for sure not coming back. New ownership. This guy's toastier than a Vegemite breakfast here in Australia. So what is his motivation? Is it to try to win? Or is it to try to continue the development of Sam Howell? If he's trying to go out with some dubs, how does he not turn to Brissett, right? But if he's being a good steward for the franchise, you keep playing Howell because he's the young guy and maybe he can develop a little bit. But I don't know, Mo. I don't know what the hell Ron Rivera is thinking or doing at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you want Ron Rivera to be out of the league, just wait a couple weeks. But as far as this game goes, my understanding was that he said he only pulled Sam Howell for safety reasons or something like that. Like, wanted to make sure he didn't keep getting his ass kicked out there. I don't know, but that implies that Sam Howell is definitely still starting. So that's the way I'm looking at this game. And at the same time, I'm like you guys, where I'm just like, how can you lay 3 points with the Jets? This is crazy. Something weird is happening here. I mean, if it was Zach Wilson, I'd be like, okay, I guess maybe. That would be like as far as I could get the line probably is 3. But yeah, but at the same time, Washington's defense is just an absolute, I mean, ever since they trade, it's just, everyone is just walking over these guys. And then, this is the only good unit on the field is going to be the Jets defense, but I don't know what it's going to take for Washington to win this game. It might only take 13 points. I mean, you can score 13 points. You get a couple turnovers, maybe special teams play, whatever else. It's not that hard to get to 13 points unless you're the Jets. So, I don't know how you could lay this price with Trevor Siemian. This is kind of crazy. I just don't understand. So I'm lost on how the Jets could ever be -3 here.
If you're sitting there and you're thinking this Washington team is dead men walking, this Jets team might have a little bit of juice left, you think we're idiots and you do like this Jets team, I mean, you have to be same game parlaying it with either some sort of defensive score from the Jets or all of Garrett Wilson's overs, right? Because Garrett Wilson is the entire offense at this point. Breece Hall has been a complete afterthought. This offensive line cannot create space, and save for a miraculous screenplay from Breece Hall, he's not going to be having very much production. So if you do like the Jets, the best way to probably get involved is to parlay it with some SGPs in Garrett Wilson's favor. I'm still not a fan with Trevor Siemian under center for Gangrene. We move to Nashville, where the Tennessee Titans play host to the Seattle Seahawks. The Hawks are 2.5-point favorites in the contest. They were 2 on the look ahead, opened a smidge higher after Drew Lock came back from the dead, had the Mizzou swag. Brett, I feel like you were a Drew Lock guy. He's your kind of quarterback. Swaggy white guy, big arm. You were a big Chad Kelly guy. I bet you got all lathered up when Locke made that comeback. Dude almost cried on television, had Mo holding back some tears in the Discord. Just an awesome moment, that throw to JSN to win that game against the fraudulent Eagles, who are the Minnesota Vikings of this year. I saw the graphic that always goes around this time of year. If we flipped every one-score game, what would the records be? I think the Eagles would have 5 wins at this point in the season if every one-score game went the other way. But the Tennessee Titans have a quarterback change themselves, it looks like. Question mark, question mark, question mark, with Will Levis remaining in the protocol. It could be Ryan Tannehill, who would be a massive upgrade because Will Levis is horrendous at quarterback. Brett, you're rolling your eyes, but that kid is...
I don't know that that's true. Tannehill's
he's dust, but he's a pro quarterback that will not make mistakes.
What if he's totally washed?
Is he an idiot? Because Will Levis is an idiot. I watched Will Levis hand it to a defensive lineman at the 5-yard line against the Dolphins.
He did beat the Dolphins.
And it sounds like Geno Smith will be back for the Hawks, which is weird. Very weird after Drew Lock just did that. To then just go back to Geno, who will likely be playing hurt with, I guess, a groin, I guess an arm. That injury seems to be still up in the air. And the ticket count is in favor of the Titans. So on its face, I think this is a big upgrade at quarterback. I think the Titans are a good teaser side to get this up to 8.5 with a total of 41. But I'm staring at Mo and Brett, who are on Seattle. Mo, I'll start with you.
Well, we don't know who's starting for the Titans yet. So this is, you can throw a dart. It's three ways right now. I mean, it could be hobbled Will Levis. It could be washed Ryan Tannehill, or it could even be Malik Willis, guys. Could you imagine if it was Malik Willis and the line was 2.5? Everyone would be on the Seahawks in that case.
Then I'm all in on Hawks.
That's why I pushed this one down. I bet the Seahawks in case it was Malik Willis. But then everyone, I'm not buying this ticket count. I think when it comes down to the contest, people are going to see a good number. They're going to see fading a bad Titans team, especially if Ryan Tannehill isn't in. Anything but Ryan Tannehill, I think people are going to be fading the Titans. I think people are happy to fade Will Levis. I think people are definitely happy to fade hobbled Will Levis and Malik Willis. So push this one down because I just think it's going to be really popular. But I do think Seahawks should maybe be laying 3 here. I mean, they can pass all over this Titans defense. The Titans are bad. I don't know, man. The Titans are just, they're not good. They're multiple points worse than the Seahawks, and they're many, many, many multiple points worse than the Seahawks. If anything but 2021 Ryan Tannehill shows up playing quarterback for them, dude, he was pretty bad this year. I mean, he did absolutely nothing. I mean, didn't he have a game where he passed for 40 yards? That was like maybe against the Browns. I don't know, man. I can't get behind Ryan Tannehill at this point. I think he might be cooked. So Seahawks could just roll here, man. They're still fighting for their playoff lives. Cross-conference game. This isn't even like, if this was the Titans playing the Texans to keep them out of the playoffs, yeah, I'm like, okay, the Titans are still going to bring it. But this is just, I don't know, man. I think Seahawks might just romp here.
We move to the AFC West, where the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Arrowhead Stadium to take on Mo's Kansas City Chiefs. And despite an historic win for the Raiders, this line moved a half point in their favor, 10.5 on the look ahead. I'm seeing 10 in the contest, if that's correct. I haven't pulled it up just yet. A flat 10. If not, it's 10.5. No real movement here, despite that obliteration of the Los Angeles Chargers. And Mo is buying the team that looked the absolute best this week and fading his Kansas City Chiefs.
Am I buying? I don't know. I feel like maybe this line should be 9, but that's about as far as I can go with this one. Definitely not buying. Definitely not betting. I just think the Raiders defense, something seems to be going on where they're playing pretty solid football. I mean, they're like top 5 since Antonio Pierce took over.
Yeah, all the metrics support this, that they've been
crazy.
Incredible in EPA since Antonio Pierce became the interim head coach of the squad.
Yeah, I mean, then again, I did watch the Chiefs play them before, and they pretty much did what they wanted after the first couple of drives, moved the ball quite easily. Chiefs looked good last week against the Patriots defense that's showing a lot of life. But this still looks like it should be a low-scoring game. I mean, lower total, pretty windy, it looks like, potentially. Yeah, I just think maybe the Raiders can keep up just enough to keep this within single digits, but not too enthusiastic either way for me. This line is pretty close, but I'm not excited about the Raiders plus 10. Aiden O'Connell, he can complete passes if he has some time because he has very good receivers, but the Chiefs coverage unit is very good, and they did a very good job last time against these guys. Honestly, last time it just came down to the Raiders running game, but I'm a little less excited about that in this spot because Jacobs is coming back from an injury. I don't know what kind of workload they're going to give him. So just about a correct line. I must be, if I'm the highest, then I guess nobody's all that excited about this one.
I was going to say, Mo had the highest opinion on this game, and it was his 6 of 15. So we'll get the hell out of the split game segment, and we'll talk some lone wolves. Okay, I guess there'll be some editing on the fly here, because like Donnie, I went leverage with the selections I made on my card, but I can pivot and give some of my true opinions on these games. That said, this top pick for me, it's my top pick because I think it's going to be both leverage, and I think it's the right side. Because I don't know why, but for multiple weeks now, all I've heard from gambling Twitter gambling podcasts is how much of an upgrade Nick Mullins would be over Joshua Dobbs at quarterback. And I saw Nick Mullins throw one of the worst interceptions you'll ever lay eyes on last week. He's a very bad quarterback. And yet, here we go again. Massive, both public and sharp sentiment for the Minnesota Vikings this week. And the Lions last week showed what they can do against bad, mediocre teams. Beat the piss out of them. And I just think they can do it again. I am worried about Flores because Flores is absolutely cooking right now. And if there's a quarterback that is going to absolutely melt when it comes to pressure and the picture changing post snap, it's going to be Jared Goff. But I think the Lions have enough weapons here, enough scheme to be able to move the rock against the Vikings in this spot. And I'm fading Nick Mullins when everybody else thinks that Nick Mullins is some kind of god. So give me the Lions, pick it and stick it. Got them extremely high. Who has the biggest opinion on the Minnesota Vikings? Looks like it's Mo. Mo taking the points with the home team in mini here.
Another one where I honestly pushed this one down just because I do think the Vikings are going to be very popular, but I do kind of like the Vikings though. And I did bet the Vikings at 3.5. So you touched on one of the things for sure. It's Jared Goff versus Brian Flores. I mean, dude, you have a guy who absolutely loves to blitz here. Blitz is at the highest rate in the NFL. And then he's coming after a quarterback who has a literal 61 PFF grade when blitzed and a 90 grade when not blitzed. I mean, and you know, we've talked about PFF before, you know, but not always taking these as gospel, but that matches your eyes, right? Jared Goff under pressure is dreadful. I mean, we all know this. We've known this for years. You give the guy a pocket, he has a tremendous arm. He sees an alleyway. It can be 30, 40 yards downfield. He can still throw a rope and get it there. I mean, you know the guy can wing the ball, but also this guy just doesn't see linebackers at times. Like, absolutely lost against zone coverage at times. And
I'll never forget that Bears game where we had Bears.
Yeah, the Vikings
oh my God.
all the zone. They play 7th most zone. Like, they're just going to come out and either blitz or max zone, which is probably the two best defenses to throw at Jared Goff. I know it's inside, but they're still at home. It's still a loud stadium that can disrupt Jared Goff a bit, and an amazing coordinator whose defense is doing work. And on the other side, you have Nick Mullins, a bad quarterback, but I'd rather have a bad quarterback at home, and I'd rather have a bad quarterback who's moving the ball. 6.3 yards per play they had against Cincy, 7.6 through the air. If he just doesn't make horrific mistakes, I think he can beat a Detroit secondary that has basically been beaten like a drum by everybody. I mean, he has an elite group of weapons now, again, with Jetta back. And Ty Chandler, I mean, anything that gets Madison off the field and gets somebody who actually has a little bit of burst, that could help the Vikings. So I like the Vikes. If it was 3.5, they would maybe be the top play in the contest. At 3, not as excited, but that might make it a better contest play if that was a thing we were going for. But from a pure handicapping standpoint, I do like the Vikes a bit.
Brett, you've got the Vikes squarely in the middle of your card. Put a pin on this contest.
This one hurts me because of the best ball shares I have of Jared Goff still. This is just a horrendous spot for him, right? Like, I am terrified of what he's going to look like against Flores in this defense, because this really is an elite defense. They are scary, and you know, we know what Goff is on the road in these spots when he has pressure in his face. And yeah, that's why I like the Vikes here. I think this is a pretty fair line. I'm with Mo. I think 3.5 is a clear Vikings play, but even at 3, I still have to lean Vikes. We're
going to skip my next Lone Wolf because I am flipping sides if we're not going for leverage, and we'll discuss it in the consensus picks that did not make the card. But this next one, it's an interesting cap, and I'm glad that we get to talk it out here. And it's Browns at Texans, another spot where the quarterback question is lingering, but it seems like the trade winds are blowing towards CJ Stroud missing again for Houston, which makes sense that this line opened 2.5 in favor of Cleveland when it was 1.5 on the look ahead in favor of the Houston Texans. The Texans, who showed absolutely all of the heart last week with a veteran quarterback, Case Keenum, winning on the road, keeping them alive in the playoff hunt. And now this is an incredibly massive leverage spot, because not only is this a game that could give them playoff seeding, but they're playing against another team in Cleveland that is aiming for a wild card spot, and the first tiebreaker is head-to-head. So if they were to get the win here, whoever does has a basically 2-game advantage over their opponent. But I'm still in the Texans off of that win. And it's a very different spot here. Basically, it comes down to this. This is just how much I hate Will Levis, and how much I think that last week's victory had to do with the Tennessee Titans employing an idiot at the quarterback position. And now, while Joe Flacco, I think, is getting way too much praise than he deserves thus far, he's at least not an idiot. And he can still spin it when he needs to. He can definitely throw to the open guy. He's moving around a little bit. He's made multiple big throws on the run, which is something I've literally never seen before from Joe Flacco. So I think pairing this defense against Case Keenum with a still banged up Nico Collins, even if he goes, which it looks like he does for the Texans, I think I'm going to take Cleveland here. And I'm actually quite surprised to see that 76% of the tickets are on Houston, but that is probably a fake number based on when these tickets were printed and what's going on at the quarterback position. My biggest detractor was DP. So DP, was this full leverage, or do you have a take on the Houston Texans?
Kind of like the Texans for a lot of the reasons you stated. I think the leverage comes in at, all the stuff I'm seeing is Browns -2.5, -120. So might go up to 3 there, probably because of the Stroud news, right? So if that does happen and that comes in, I think that's where the leverage will come in. You know, that said, I kind of still like the Texans overall. So this isn't just a full leverage play for me. It's kind of a little bit of both.
Mo, Cleveland did struggle a ton last week against the Bears and somehow pulled the dub out of their keister. Even mid-game, that Njoku touchdown was just a prayer thrown up in the back of the end zone, and Njoku mosses somebody. So I can definitely see wanting to fade the Browns off of a very, not fraudulent, but very fortunate win against the Bears.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, is just Flacco is getting a lot of flowers, but he's making a ton of mistakes. Obviously, multiple interceptions last week. And on the other side, you have a Texans team. You guys saw, I texted you guys when I saw Case Keenum was starting. I thought, I didn't know we didn't have Texans. I got kind of excited. I like Case Keenum. I guess I always have, but I don't know. He's probably on the verge of wash too. But this Browns defense, we've seen some big home road splits there. They're much stronger at home. And I think Flacco's a powder keg ready to blow probably. And Houston, I mean, their defense is kind of doing it. They have the horses on the outside to match up with Amari Cooper and these guys, and their run defense is really strong. So I'm really not sure how the Browns are going to move the ball in this game, to be honest. And they might have enough to get some points here. Probably going to be a really low-scoring game, but yeah, I kind of think that I'm with Donnie that I kind of think this is one of those, and what you said, Rich, as well. Just it's like the Seahawks game. I think, I know the tickets are saying the other way, but I think when it comes down to contest time, people are gonna want to lay it with Cleveland, especially when they keep covering every week and facing, a battered Texans team, one that I guess I still think has enough talent to beat this Cleveland team. Flacco's he's still making some bad plays, man. And they did gain a lot of yards on the Bears, which is impressive in the sense of just purely from the line of scrimmage. The Bears are doing work on D. So the fact that they were able to do that does impress me some, but it just comes with so many negative plays with Flacco. At some point, that's going to matter.
So I'm very confused. Very, very confused about this next game because we say we're not going full leverage. And to me, the literal only reason to pick the other side in this game is leverage. How in the world can you guys take Mason Rudolph? +2.
I knew that was
the
what you were going to say. This is
how
trash. This is so good. This is checks every single box.
What do you mean leverage?
Barely.
What do you mean? It's 2.5 in real life. It's going to go to 3.
The Bengals are a lock to be a top 5 pick, aren't they?
Yeah, dude. This line's already 2.5, and it's pushing. It's Bengals minus 2.5, minus 120. So it's going to go to 3. If that happens,
once this hits
Bengals are slam dunk like the number 1 play, if not top 3 for sure,
and for good reason. Because
what's the reason?
Okay, so but I'm saying I picked
do you
this
not
week based on
remember when
leverage.
Mason Rudolph punted us out of Survivor? Has that been erased from your brain?
Stop. Honestly, you have to bring that up. I told you the only time I've been legitimately upset in my heart, like hurt human being, didn't want to talk to anyone, shattered, is when we lost Survivor that year.
Well, I don't believe that because you leave the chat enough that you don't want to speak to anybody.
No, that's the only time I've been like devastated in the entire time we've done Gridiron Gamble. My heart was hurting after that one. Okay,
as your friend and someone who loves you, I'm sorry for bringing that up.
This is also a bit of a spot.
It's not a spot.
What do you? Okay,
no.
What is all the?
Done.
Okay,
it's done. The voodoo's done. Tomlin's
What's the
done.
voodoo?
It's over.
What's the voodoo?
It's
I'm telling you, it's a spot in the sense that everyone, literally everyone, is just on the Bengals. The only talk about the Steelers this week is how like the wide receivers didn't block for the run, and like there's a disaster in the locker room. That's all that they've been talking about. Like you have that. Then now you have Jamar Chase out.
Brett knows what I'm going to say.
That's a good
Brett
thing.
knows what I'm going to say.
What? I mean, come on.
What if Jake Browning is just as good as Burrow?
Yeah. What if he is good, but you can still pick a spot and fade him? Okay, he had a great comeback game last week. Okay, that was against a team that, some guys on here are talking about they don't have a really good quarterback in Nick Mullins. So, like, what? I mean, I'm not that impressed by it. No Jamar Chase. The Bengals defense fucking blows. Okay.
What would this line be? The Steelers get 200 yards of offense a game.
Don't say what would this line be. Say what was this line 3 weeks ago.
Okay. What was it 3 weeks ago?
The Steelers
Probably
were road favorites
whatever.
over this team. And they dominated.
Yeah, Browning needed to just get his feet under him. What would this line be if Jamar Chase played, is my question.
5.
5?
I mean,
3.
I don't know. It's going up.
Well,
it's already
3.5.
almost 3. So don't count that.
I'm definitely.
In real life.
I think so. I'm on record as saying I think elite receivers are worth a field goal. So
yes, you have said that.
So
I'm going to 5.
Oh, they have 2. So
I don't get it. I don't understand
because the Bengals aren't good. You could not convince me that this team is good.
Passing offense.
What with Jake? I hate what's happening right now with Jake Browning. This was my guy. This was my
Brett wants to be the only guy on Jake Browning.
No,
that's it.
Brett's
that's
the guy. Brett's the guy who saw banned.
It is his Jake Browning. This is Brett Carlson's Jake Browning. Everyone else get off of Jake Browning. Brett had it first, and he's going to have it last. God damn it!
He's not that good.
Brett saw Oasis play in front of 5 people and was like, "This is my band." And then as soon as they started playing stadiums, he was like, "I hate Oasis."
The hype
I was with Oasis
control.
before anyone.
It's out of control. He's not this good. And I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for him. I think what's happening is great. He's winning football games, but it's going to come crashing down again. And I think it happens this week. Like, multiple key players out for the Bengals. No Jamar Chase. DJ Reader is a huge one for the Bengals. And like, I know it's Mason Rudolph. I know the Steelers have culture issues or whatever it is, but this is still a divisional game, home underdog, playing for its life. and possibly playing for its coach's life too. If Tomlin still has that locker room, this might be, I mean, this is a must win for the Steelers. Like, they have to win this game. So there could be multiple motivational factors here for Pittsburgh. This is it. This is their shot. And I think they show up and just win this game.
Rich, the Steelers were -2 in Cincinnati 3 weeks ago and destroyed them. Okay? So you're telling me this line should be moving 8 points?
Who played quarterback for the
weeks?
Steelers in that game?
Who cares? They're all the same.
No.
Don't you dare sit here and tell me
Kenny Pickett,
matters.
Mitch Trubisky, Mason
Kenny
Rudolph.
Pickett-
Pull one of them out of a hat and put them on the field, bro.
This is rule of threshold. This is rule of threshold. Those guys meet the threshold to be a bad quarterback in pro football. Mason Rudolph does not meet the threshold. This is Jake Luton.
It is not Jake Luton. You stop it.
He looked like Jake Luton, though. I don't know what happened to Mason Rudolph. That guy, all he did in college was sling it. That's all they did was throw it downfield. And then he gets to the Steelers, and all they do is dump offs. If they actually let this kid throw the football, I think he might be all right. Kid, he's not even a kid anymore. This is like, what, 27 now?
You could probably rent a car. All right, move on to Brett's Lone Wolves. And again, if we're not just doing leverage, I don't know what Brett's doing. Because the market is steaming the other direction, and he is lining up to take the Atlanta Falcons at home as 1-point favorites in the contest. This is now 2.5 in real life. No, sorry, this is reverse leverage. Sorry. This is Brett actually taking the side that's going to be popular. Because it's now 2.5 in real life.
He's taking the free space.
Taking the free space.
Based on this line.
Cacaw Falcons.
Yeah, trust me, I don't love taking the free space. And I probably wouldn't.
What is the difference in win probability between 1 and 2.5?
Well, it's just
it might get to 3.
It's just that people in this contest are so obsessed with CLV.
I'm just making a contest.
Even if it's a half point of CLV, these people just click it without even thinking.
I love this spot for the Falcons, though. Like, the yin-yang every week for this team has worked for me, and we get another spot here with them at home off an embarrassing loss last week. Again, and here they are against the most fraudulent team in the NFL, the Colts. Atlanta gets a huge bump to its offensive line, 3 starters trending toward playing. Heineke and Ritter are what? Probably the same at this point. Heineke looked awful this year, but this is simple. The Colts have not been good against the run. They haven't stopped anyone on the run or on the ground this year. Get the run game going, take some of the pressure off Heineke, and punch this lousy Colts team in the throat. This should just be 3 to me. I think the Colts are better, and this is a great spot for them at home. The only concern is coaching, which is very valid, but I think the talent wins out here. So I love this spot for the Falcons.
This could be better coach, better quarterback, as much as I hate Gardner Minshew. But Steichen is definitely miles better than whatever the hell Arthur Smith is doing.
How good is Steichen? This guy is amazing.
And look at the Eagles. And look at the Eagles, too. That's the thing that gets me, is the Eagles have been putrid this year. And Steichen was dealt a shit sandwich with Anthony Richardson getting hurt and has just absolutely done it.
Hats off. I don't even care that I lost a pile of money fading the Colts. I'm just like,
if you're a team looking for a head coach, don't you just kind of like go all in on Steichen and try and like if you're the Chargers, for example, that's a good one. Like, why would Steichen want to stay in Indianapolis? You got a horrible ownership.
Oh, I mean, Anthony Richardson. He could turn Anthony Richardson into...
He can go get Justin Herbert if that's like, if you're the Chargers is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the Chargers are going to be in cap hell.
Yeah, but I think they're the Colts better position to win now.
I don't know, man. Colts, easy division. Easier division. I guess battling Stroud every year is going to be annoying. But yeah, this... I don't understand why everyone loves Atlanta. That's kind of what confuses me the most in this spot. Because going into
everyone knows the Colts suck.
But so do the Falcons.
Rich, you talked about earlier. Rich, you talked about earlier all the gambling, Twitter, podcasts, whatever. All I hear, and it's not just this week; it's every single week. the Falcons at home are this team, the Falcons away are that team. And then people just buy or sell literally based on that. That's all I hear with any cap.
Is part of this all of gambling Twitter on their hands and knees, hoping that this Falcons 8.5 win total comes home? Is that what's happening here?
That literally everyone was on, and we were here on this podcast saying, like, this is insane to us. Yes. Who the hell are the Falcons?
I think that's what's happening here. I think people are just begging for their futures tickets to come home, so they're trying to shoehorn a victory here.
The Falcons
in favor of Atlanta
are 28th in DVOA. Good Lord.
20. Here we go. 28th in DVOA. Net EPA not as bad. 19th. But this is
good in net yards per play.
And because their defense has been so good. This is the thing that's so troublesome. 24th in offensive EPA. 22nd pass offense EPA. This running game that has Bijan freaking Robinson and Tyler Algier, who ran for 1,000 yards last year. 26th in rush offense EPA. It's inexcusable, the job that Arthur Smith has done this year. And this is a team, everybody's hurt right now in the entire NFL. Guys are just limping around. Everybody has a clean bill of health on the Atlanta offense. Drake May, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, they barely have a fucking scratch, and they can't get first downs. What's going on? My God. Somebody fix it. I said it on Twitter. Fire Art Smith, trade for Justin Fields, hire either Ben Johnson or Shane Waldron, score 50 a game, get hose. That's the way to do it. Next Lone Wolf for Brett. He got the Panthers across the line last week. And now he's fading them with the Green Bay Packers, despite nobody lining up to click Carolina once again. And have you seen this injury report for Green Bay? Every meaningful target for Jordan Love is either on IR or hasn't practiced thus far this week.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, the Panthers defense all have the flu too, so that's something to keep in mind. And look, injury report, something we're gonna have to watch this week if you are interested in this game. There were two games I love this week that are correlated and intertwined based on last week's results. The last one we just talked about. Then this is the other one, the Panthers. I loved them last week. They beat the Falcons at home outright. Now hosting the Packers, who have been embarrassed the past 2 weeks. So I think this is a great spot to sell the Panthers off a win by the Packers, who are still fighting for a playoff spot. Like, why won't the Panthers just hit the brakes here? Team they're all sick right now. Key players on defense, Burns, Gross Matos. Yes, there are important injuries for the Packers to keep an eye on, and that could sway my opinion, take me off this game. But it really comes down to what might be the worst roster in the NFL right now, with these illnesses, getting less than a touchdown against a team that still has a lot of motivation off 2 losses. Like the Packers have no choice but to go out and win this game this week, and I think they will.
This mud butt seems to be a thing too, because there have been several teams affected by it. Last week was the Dallas Cowboys. They apparently gave it to Brett's Buffalo Bills, who've got this flu mud butt going around. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm just terrified of this injury report for Green Bay. So in a game with a total of 37 and a road favorite here this high, and a Panthers defense that has been playing inspiring football these past couple of weeks, seen a lot of nodding over there, Mo. I just don't know how you can put an X next to Green Bay.
Yeah, I can't with these. Dontavion Wicks, I mean, these guys are doing decent work for the Packers. Jaden Reed has been very, very good for them at times, making some very big plays, not just slot merchant like Rich likes to hate on. And he's slot merchant, but he's like making plays downfield. So, yeah, I'm a little worried about Green Bay on the road against a Carolina defense that is playing fairly decent football. I mean, they have not mailed it in. I know this offense is as bad as it gets, but maybe Chuba just eats a little bit in this game. Their running game has done pretty decent work in some of these games. They have got Chuba going in several recent games. I think he had like 80 yards last week on the Falcons. And this Green Bay run D is atrocious. So, in just a low possession game. I mean, Brett said, maybe they have no choice but to win. Maybe they just win by 3, though. I don't know. This is right close to where I capped it. So, gonna take the dog that I think still nobody's going to be on probably, but not a strong opinion. Definitely think this line's about where it should be.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team, who have a pick'em contest with the Dallas Cowboys in Circa, despite still being short favorites in real life, -1.5 last time I checked. And Brett is on the fish here, throwing his hands up. He does have this quite low, but hey, man.
Usually in years past, Brett is yelling at us about leverage. Now he's just like, you know what, F it.
Because it doesn't matter. We're done. We're cooked. Matter.
You're so beaten. You're a beaten man. We're all beaten men, but you especially.
What does leverage matter if there's no leverage? If we're not playing for anything, who cares? For the first time, this is actually actually handicapping games.
Scrooge McNaughty over there.
I have no take on this game. I mean, it's Dolphins -1 in real life. That could flip. No, I have no interest. I just want to watch this game.
I know somebody who has
I'm curious to see.
I know somebody who has a take, and his name is Mo Nuara. Beaking in the Discord, said Cowboys by margin during the games last week. So Mo, take it away. Why is Dallas going to win this game by margin?
Yeah, I like the Cowboys. I'm willing to overlook last week's extremely brutal beatdown at the hands of the Bills. Cross-conference game in bad weather on the road off multiple big wins. Like, it does seem like maybe a little bit of a spot where they let go of the rope a little bit and just called it a day early. So willing to get past that and just look at how this team looks overall, which is a very strong team facing a Dolphins team that is absolutely ravaged by injury. So I know Zach Martin and Tyron Smith have not practiced this week, but I did a little bit of digging, and it sounds like Martin's going to try to go, and Tyron Smith played 100% of the snaps last week, so I can only assume he is going to play, and this is just they're keeping him on ice to keep him as fresh as possible for this game. And on the other side, you have multiple Dolphins starting offensive linemen out. You have Teron Armstead, who did practice, but is probably like sub 50-50 to make it through an NFL game at this point in his life. And Tyreek Hill hobbled. I think at some point these things matter. I thought they would matter last week when I got 5.5 points of CLV on the Jets. They didn't. So, going to try again and assume they will matter playing a real NFL team that is actually good this week. Yes, I am a little bit worried that the Dolphins might run straight with a running game that nobody has talked about but has actually been really good this year. Maybe it could happen. But if they can't, then I think they are going to get potentially buried here. I mean, this is as close as it gets to an indoor game as far as playing outdoors in December is playing in Miami probably. So I think Dallas should be not too uncomfortable as they have been at times this year when they've been away from home. And a Miami defense that I keep saying is overrated and they keep coming out and doing it, but they are facing the absolute most pathetic stretch of offenses imaginable. So now they have to play somebody legitimate, and let's see them do it against a real offense here.
I want to know why does Mo have the only take? Rich, where is your rule? Miami against a good team. How have they done?
Bad. Dallas against good teams, though. Bad. We've got two teams.
Dallas on the road
against
bad teams.
Against good teams. Very bad. Both these teams have played two of the easiest schedules in the league. Dolphins the second easiest. Dallas the third easiest. But last week, to me, was kind of litmus, where Bills-Cowboys, I wanted to see it from one of them, and the Bills did the damn thing. I was very impressed by that. Something James Cook might actually matter, which is insane. But for me, this is just buy low, sell high. Sell the Dolphins, who just beat a college team by margin. by the Dolphins, who just lost, by the Cowboys, who just lost by margin against a team that everyone saw as fledging. And by the way, I'm very fascinated to see what the contest does in this game because I think
they're going to take Miami.
I don't think they're going to. This is weird. I don't think they're going to take either of them because everybody
Miami
piled
for sure.
You really think so?
If the line's
But
1.5, they're going to take Miami.
Yeah, I
That's what these people do.
I guess if it's pure CLV, then they're going to take Miami.
That's what Circa put this line up, and it's been Miami.
That's why this contest is so insane because everyone just takes the free points. Like no one actually plays it like a contest at any point. They're just like, oh, I'm getting 2 points of value. Click, like end of story. Like that's the end of it all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's why, that's why those two spots were just so beautiful last week, guys. Texans and Dolphins were just chef's kiss spots in this contest. Last lone wolf for Minotti. The Philadelphia Eagles are massive home favorites, pushing towards 2 touchdowns against Tommy DeVito, and the New York Football Giants. And Brett is buying the Eagles off of a primetime loss. So talk about it. Why do you got the Eagles?
I mean, I thought this line was pretty fair. I said last week, like, you have to sell the Giants. Like, this team is still trash. We know what DeVito is. And again, like, this team, I know everybody's down on the Eagles, but I said it last week. I can't wrap my head around this team not being, like, even second, third tier. Like, I still think they're there. And this is a great get-right spot for them. And they need to just blow the doors off a team and get back on track as we get closer to the playoffs. So, I mean, it's I think it's 13.5 in real life now, so it is creeping up. So, I mean, this
Eagles got
probably
steamed today.
Well, it's one of those things where the DeVito thing is cute, okay? And I did click the Giants in the spot. But there is no way that if I was still in the great state of Florida, that I would have real American dollars on the New York Giants. He's very bad at football. This offense is very bad on both sides of the ball. And the Eagles could just trench their way to a victory by margin in this game. I just ended up flipping a coin and it landed on the dog. DP, you had a high opinion on this game. I'm assuming it was the big L word. But where do you land on Giants, Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's clicking the Giants in general. I don't think anyone's going to click the Giants at 12.5 when it's 13.5, maybe if it goes higher in real life. That said, if I'm betting this game, I like this as a get-right spot for the Eagles. I mean, you also have Jalen Hurts calling out the team, saying their head's not in it, all that sort of stuff. I mean, I feel like if anyone's going to kind of rally and get a fire lit under their asses, it's this Eagles team, that's kind of how they've seemed to operate in a lot of ways, the more recent years. So, yeah, I mean, if it's a contest play, I'm clicking the Giants. If it's real life, I would have my money on the Eagles here, getting right for sure.
I hope Jalen gave that speech to the guy in the mirror, because he sucks. Flu game. Not a thing for Mr. Hurts. Last lone wolf. Mo. Everybody on this podcast, personally, I went to leverage down on this one, is laying points with the 2023 Chicago Bears. And you just can't find a way to do it.
I don't know. This is just the line that it's supposed to be, I think, but it's really hard to, like you said, just lay points with the Bears, a team that is winning with defense, minimizing mistakes, stuff like that. Not a team that I expect to beat people by a large margin, although they did do that against Detroit. But yeah, I just think Arizona's offense is frisky enough to keep them in it. I'm hoping it is. I need many Justin Fields fantasy points, but I don't have much of an opinion on this game. I got nothing. I think the Bears are a couple points better than the Cardinals, and they should probably be a -4. So I just clicked the dog. That's if I think the line is right, I'm just clicking the dog. But I think, is Arizona a public dog?
This is me efforting. Need some elevator music. If I remember just generally this week, a lot of these were extremely tight. Last game, not included, Philadelphia was getting 80% of the tickets. And yes, 65% of the tickets are on the Arizona Cardinals, and nothing is smellier than a public dog. Brett, I'm with you. I went full leverage. That's why I have the Bears. That's why I have the Bears in my top 5. I don't understand how so many people could be in love with Arizona when they had a bit of a party when Kyler came back. They looked good for one game. They looked okay the next game, and then it's just been back to the disaster that is the Arizona Cardinals since then. And Chicago's shown a bunch of life. They're much like the Raiders team that has improved on defense. The Bears defense has been quite strong the second half of the year. The addition of Montez Sweat has certainly helped that. And Fields, man, he's just frisky. Like last week, bonehead plays for sure, but almost single-handedly pulled it out at the end with that insane Hail Mary that Darnell Mooney, all in on the tank, was unable to pull in and get the dub for the Bears. Brett, pile on with Chi-Town.
Watching Kyron Williams on the turf right now. That sucks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I continue to be impressed by this Bears defense. And Justin Fields has the ability to put a lot of points on the board, especially against a defense like this. I'm actually surprised this is only 4. I have real American dollars on the Bears this week because I think this should be 5.5, maybe even 6. I'm surprised. Mo's been all over the Bears. I'm surprised by this, that he's not on them. Is it just too big a number for this offense?
Yeah, it's a tough one to lay. If you guys want to talk not about this week's football, I just want to know, where do you guys think Justin Fields is going to be playing next year?
Atlanta, please. Please, Atlanta. Please. Can you imagine a backfield with Fields and Bijan spelled?
Well, as long as...
Art has to be gone. To be gone. On turf, Fields and Bijan, good luck. It's just a match made in heaven. I don't know what other team would be a good fit at this point.
Well, what are the other options?
Yeah, because the Falcons are not going to have a good enough pick to where they can draft a very good quarterback, probably.
That's right.
So that does make sense in that sense, yeah.
Are there any aging quarterbacks? I guess the Titans, right? If they punt on this garbage Will Levis experiments. Steelers.
The Browns have no picks left, so it can't be the Browns.
Steelers. I was thinking the Steelers.
Steelers have no quarterback. What else? You know where you should go? They would never do it. I don't think they would waste assets, but
the Patriots?
I was going to say Miami. Can you imagine if they got bummed Tua out of there?
Your DMs are going to be on fire.
Gary Gates coming for your soul right now.
I mean, what's he going to cost? A third?
I was thinking a third. That's what I thought when I was thinking about where Justin Fields might go. I think you can get him for a third. I just don't see somebody giving up a second. But
if you're a good team, we see how much quarterback injuries can alter your season. If you're a good team with a good quarterback, don't you just give up a third for Justin Fields? Instead of having some schmuck come in and have to play high leverage plays at some point in the season? I don't know. I think quarterback depth is probably one of the most underrated things in the league right now. And we're seeing it bear out as the season progresses.
I heard the Cat people say Denver is allowed to cut Russell Wilson in the offseason.
It seems like
that could be another one.
Seems like the worst kept secret in the league is that Russ is getting cut once the season ends. All right, Lone Wolves. I've got the Lions, Browns, and Bengals. Brett's got the Falcons, Packers, Dolphins, and Eagles. Mo has the Cards. And speaking of the card, let's make the Week 16 version right after this. Another winning week for Brett in Week 15. 3-2 in his top 5, and he leads things off with a lone wolf?
I mean, I feel like this is the most obvious side of the week, and I think the contest is going to see it the same way, but I've got the Falcons.
Ka. The most anti-Brett pick of all time.
Because it doesn't matter. I hate that we're in this position, but at the same time, like, let's just pick.
Just out here
Stat
padding, baby, all day. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The guy I thought would never pat stat, like he would just be standing on the mountain defending it till the bitter end, and he's just given up.
So, show me that we are still drawing live for something.
If we have opposite picks of everyone else and everything crumbles and we hit a miracle, it could happen.
I don't know.
So we're just taking the worst possible sides.
Last week, we were only 4 points out of cashing. And had we done the damn thing with Texans and Dolphins, those would have been two extremely valuable points. But I digress. I'm up next. I went 3-2 last week with those two devil sides. And I'm going to select a team that I originally selected against because I thought we were going full leverage season. Because speaking of Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, and the Denver Broncos, how in God's name can the Denver Broncos lay 6 points in pro football? Somebody explain it to me. I don't care that it's Zeppeli. I don't care that Bill Belichick has 1 foot out the door. We've got a total in the 30s, a defense playing well, and a Broncos team that has been saying 1, 2, 3 Cancun probably for the last couple of months. A massive rift. It seems like every other game, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are just screaming at each other on the sideline. So can never, ever, 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 ever lay 6 points in the spot with this game. Who is the lowest on New England? It's tied between DP and Brett, and they both have it basically bubbling their card. So I'll go to DP. DP, you're the only one that has no confidence points on the Patriots. What is your worry here?
No confidence points. I don't know. This is a leverage play for me. Everyone's going to click the Broncos,
which is insane.
The Patriots are a bottom 3 team. The line's creeping up. It's 6.5 now. It might get to 7. Like, I mean, who the hell is going to click Zeppeli in Denver? Like, I mean, what is this? No one's going to be on the Patriots.
Brett, you too?
I feel like people kind of want to look at. There's a lot of people that I hear every single week that kind of what you were talking about, Rich, earlier with the Falcons. Like, people want the Broncos to like still be good. Like, they talk about how they're turning the corner, they're making a charge, like all this sort of stuff. And like, yeah, part of that might be true, but like they're also a disaster. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I don't really get behind the Broncos at all. So it might be a little bit of a double-edged sword here, which is good.
Denver 22nd in DVOA. They're just a flat-out bad football team. Brett, any worries about Zeppeli in Mile High?
No, I like this. I mean, I think this is absolutely a leverage play. But I wasn't even considering that. I just think the Patriots are the right side, even at 6. It's crazy that I saw 7 earlier today. Denver was -7, which is wild to me. So yeah, I love the Patriots here.
Wish I was in the free state of Florida and could have grabbed that with real American dollars. Mo, you had this as your second pick. Put a pin. Oh, no. I stole that from you, Mo. I just noticed. I have my paper here. For those of you watching.
Uh-oh.
That was Mo's pick. Well, Mo, you just have to go 1 under. Which is a consensus pick. So put a pin on the Patriots, and then we'll go to your pick.
So, yeah, this one's interesting because I do think it's going to be leverage because, like Donnie and all you guys are saying, the line keeps going up, which is wild to me. Do people not understand this Denver team is literally subsisting on the other team handing them the game? Like, they can't create their own wins. They can't. This is what I tried telling you guys a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what game it was. I remember arguing with Rich.
Yes, it was the Texans game, and Denver was driving to win and threw an interception in the end zone. So I don't want to hear it.
Because when they have to make their own plays, they can't do it. That's what it is. They need you to hand them the game. And the Patriots are just going to come out and be conservative, throw short, and run the ball. You know they are. They're not going to take any chances. Could Zappe still blow it? Yes, of course, because he's bad. But if they don't completely blow their dicks to smithereens, then this is just going to be a punt fest. Two teams waiting for the other one to blink, and somebody is probably going to win 17-14. I don't know who it is, but I do know that I would not want to be laying points, and I'm very happy to have bet the Patriots at 6.5. I'm surprised it's going to 7, but yeah, at 6, less excited. But for contest purposes, if there's people out there who are still alive, who listen to us for comedic purposes, then grab the Patriots, I think, because this is a very good contest play.
I got a suggestion for everybody out there. If you're in the fantasy semis and you have Kyron Williams, don't play against Stafford and Puka stacked. It's not a good idea.
Ouch.
Mother effer.
What if you have Puka and Stafford on your roster, but you didn't play Stafford?
Oh my goodness.
Are you just a complete moron? I have Fields, though.
Stafford just missed Puka wide open for like a 30-yard touchdown.
How good is Puka? I am so mad.
It's very good.
Back in October, multiple dynasty leagues, I'm offering people literal first-round picks because I believed in Puka. And they waffled and they didn't take them. And now Puka's just GOAT. I have zero exposure to this guy. And I absolutely love him. I'm so mad. Mo,
I'm looking at Broncos -7 on DraftKings right now.
No! Unbelievable.
So I would be betting the Patriots right now.
Absolutely love it. Mo's got a consensus pick. And
now I'm going to have to drive back to Iowa. Bet more on the stupid Patriots. I do have a consensus pick.
I've got 3 words. The entire cap. It's just the 3 words. We don't need to say another syllable probably, even though I'll let you take it away because it's your pick. Dead cat bounce.
It has to be, right? And this is as by the team that played the worst last week as it can get. A team that literally gave up 63 points to the zombie Oakland Raiders. Okay. I took the Chargers. I think this line's inflated. I mean, guys, this is the sleepiest spot imaginable. The Bills can just come out, sleepwalk, and get a 10-point win. They know they can. They're facing a bad team on the road, laying 1 million points, traveling across the country, and the Chargers just got embarrassed. Everyone knows they got embarrassed. Everyone's been getting hit over the head with last week's tape like a newspaper, and they know they have to. It doesn't matter what your career situation is right now. If you have a Chargers uniform to put on this weekend, you know you have to put something halfway decent on tape. Okay, so there's a bad coach fired, and they know they're gonna come out and have to play hard here. And they're going to show some heart, I think, and the Bills probably won't, and they'll probably wake up in the second half and win this game 27-17, and nobody is going to remember this game besides me because I'm going to cover my plus 12.5, and that's going to be the end of it.
Guy that everybody hated gets fired. The Bills do have that flu mud butt going around. You could also get some SoCal flu going. Get out there, out of the bad weather, get some nice weather. Go out, have a bit of a good time while you're out there in Inglewood. Brett, this is
everyone wants to fade Easton Stick. We don't even know how bad Easton Stick is yet. He didn't even have a chance last week. They fumbled like their first 2 possessions, and it was 21-0 before he even had a real possession. I mean, it wasn't even a real game. And then he's throwing. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's throwing pick sixes on screens." Well, that wasn't his fault. He looked over because the play said, immediately turn to your right and throw to that guy. So he did it, and some guy read it, and nobody blocked him, and that dude just ran in and picked it. It's not his fault. None of that was on Easton Stick. We haven't even seen how bad this guy is yet. So why is he getting 12.5 here?
Brett, your beloved Buffalo Bills and your beloved Los Angeles Chargers.
Come on, man. This is exactly
are you going to this game or what, man? This is right up your alley.
No, I will not be going to LA this week. There are several things I like about the Chargers here. One, Staley gone, fresh start. Chargers could just show up for this game with something to play for, like some excitement this guy's finally out of town. I have to imagine the locker room is behind this call. Chargers extra rest too, extra time to prepare off that pathetic performance against the Raiders with the new coaching staff or new coach. And then, Bills short week traveling across the country against a really bad team during a holiday weekend. I just have a really hard time backing this team laying this many points on the road when everybody's just all in on the Bills right now.
Right there with you. All right, DP rounds us out with another consensus pick. 3 of the 4, 3 consensus, 1 lone wolf. DP, they kicked us in the nuts on Sunday night. In the first half, they traveled to the opponent's 30-yard line 4 times. They scored exactly this many points for the YouTube audience, 0 for the podcast audience. Trevor Lawrence, CTE, perhaps something beat hard under center. But we are not deterred because there's market sentiment for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home against our Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, man, we got the Jaguars. I feel like I was robbed. I lost a lot of money on the Jaguars last week. That was an effing joke. I'm so mad. I mean, they should have won that game. Just flat out won it. If they could have just scored and not been idiots. You got Trevor Lawrence just dropping the ball for no reason. Like, just the dumbest stuff imaginable. I mean, this was a leverage play for me at the end of the day. Looked at the line, said Bucks -3. I'm like, pick them in the contest. Let's go. I mean,
I was wrong. This is the free space of the week.
Yeah, this is the free space of the week for sure. I mean, I feel like everyone's going to stay on the Bucks, right? As long as this line stays where it is. Who the hell is going to click on the Jaguars?
Fake road game as well. Not
also,
really.
like, the Bucks are like, I mean, the Bucks are fine, but like, I don't think the Bucks are any sort of like really good team. They're fine.
They're
like,
just your run-of-the-mill bad NFL team.
Yeah, and like what the Jaguars are fine too. So like I don't understand in general.
What the Bucks did on offense last week is always within the range of outcomes because Baker Mayfield has a live arm and Godwin and Evans are very good at football. But it is not sustained, right? This is the EPA team, but not the success rate team. And when we catch them on a negative variance week, this could be Jags outright, even with beat hard at quarterback. So I don't think you're going to get very much resistance from the collective. Brett, you are the lowest on Jacksonville in this spot.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on at quarterback for
Yeah, how
the
can
Jags.
you be confident either way?
I had this in my top 5 because I didn't realize that Lawrence was probably not going to play. I didn't know what was happening with that line. Now it makes a little more sense. I don't know what to do.
I'm going to take a page out of your book, and then I want Beathard to play. So let the line stays like this.
Normally, I agree, but it doesn't matter this week.
No, I'm still leaning into leverage till I die.
All right.
I'm actually 2 quarterback league against your boss, Mo. I'm probably going to have to play Trevor Siemian over Trevor Lawrence this week.
You can never play Trevor Siemian.
How was that was the only
Put
option?
Taysom in.
Okay, so my other options would be Taysom. Taysom scores like 2 points a week. It would.
He's probably going to score more than Siemian.
It would. Well, I guess I do have another out. I would probably play David Montgomery over Trevor Siemian. Right?
Probably.
I mean, it's Minnesota. Minnesota has a good defense, bruh.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon's banged up. Christian Watson's banged up. Am I really going to play Isaiah Likely over a quarterback? Is that a thing that I'm going to do?
You're telling me Case Keenum is owned?
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill's owned?
It's the playoffs. All these teams are
anyone other than Siemian?
I guess maybe Tannehill is. No, not Tannehill doesn't look available. Let me go through. No. Oh, Keenum. You would play Keenum over Siemian?
Of course.
I think so.
Against Cleveland?
It is a good matchup for Siemian.
Bro,
too.
you know,
it's a good matchup.
It's a small chance, but there is the range of outcomes where Keenum can somewhat go off. Trevor Siemian, it's 0.0. It is never happening.
Keenum can get to 202. Siemian can get to 202 touchdowns if Brees breaks one and Garrett feasts. It's a gross spot, though. Congrats, Andrus. Congrats. Getting me hampered. Congrats on going to the finals. All right, time for the collective pick. I don't have my sounder. If I did, it would blow Brett's ears off. You guys have your fucking fun with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay? Have a blast.
Can you tell me where this landed for everybody? I want to know.
Brett's number 1, Mo's number 1, DP's number 4. You got a parade of idiots putting Mason Rudolph on the card.
The only reason I don't have this number 1 is because I think the other games have more leverage, but this is for sure up there. It's my number 4, Rich. You know, because you know the sheet. If number 4 with the same confidence points as the other one, so it's just whatever.
All 5 of Donnie's picks got 20 confidence points.
Oh my god!
At least you're on ODB's side for this one. He's going to call us all morons.
Yes, because you are. So
money bet line.
So the cards we have: Easton Stick and the Los Angeles Chargers. We've got Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've got Desmond Ridder and the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, excuse me.
Heineke.
It's Heineke.
It is Heineken season.
Yeah.
We've got
Busch Light sponsored Taylor Heineke.
We got Bailey Zeppeli and the New England Patriots, and we got CJ Beathard and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the worst crop of
Gridiron Campbell card.
We've put together some horrific cards of bad quarterbacks. This takes the cake. I mean, this is an all-time bad.
And
I'm so happy.
Only 2 of them are at home, right? Oh, no. 3 of them, Chargers, are at home, too. Wow, guys.
I mean, is Beathard the best quarterback on our sheet? I mean, what is happening?
Special one.
Oh, my God. I mean, Heineke? Maybe?
Maybe Heineke. Yeah, I mean, this is horrendous.
ODB's driving home for the poker game and just threw his phone out of the window on I-15. It is just crumpled into pieces because an 18-wheeler just drove over it. What a legendary crop of quarterbacks. All right, Survivor. If you guys didn't watch it yet or listen to it, go on over to the Lines YouTube page and check out the Survivor show, where Mo had a great discussion about the chop scenarios that are going on right now with Circa. Mo, give us a short recap of that, and then we'll talk Week 16 at Survivor.
Yeah, we had some fun. We had Mike Palma. Palm? Or Palma? I'm blanking now. But yeah, he's like high up at Circa. I believe he's like Jeff Benson's boss. He was great. And he talked a lot about Survivor strategy in general. And this year, the chop situation with Sean Perry not wanting to chop. But I guess one of the reasons he was saying is because he still has the Jags next week, which the Jags host Carolina. And he's the only entry with the Jags left. So maybe people should mention that when they want to lambast this guy for not chopping, because that is a tremendous spot. If you have the Jags, which is maybe the biggest favorite of the week, I don't know, I'd have to double check. They're going to be up there for sure. But I guess they're not even a top 3 apparently. But yeah, they're hosting Carolina. Really good spot where nobody is going to have San Francisco, Buffalo, maybe Philly. I believe he said there was a couple Phillies, a couple San Franciscos left because of Christmas. Presumably those are going to get used this week. So yeah, he's in a really, really good spot with the Jags, with nobody else having the Jags. Everyone else is going to have to take somebody like Denver or Houston. Just to read some of these, like it's like Denver hosting the Chargers, Houston hosting Tennessee, Chicago hosting Atlanta. I mean, people are going to probably have to dig a little bit deep next week, and he's just going to be able to click the Jags. Obviously, this is all presuming everybody gets a parlay this week. There's probably going to be some carnage. So, yeah, who knows what's going to happen this week. But as far as this week goes, you're probably going to see a lot of Green Bay. I think it was 3 teams I highlighted. It was Green Bay, Chicago, and the Rams, maybe. maybe Denver. No, it's Denver. It's Green Bay, Denver, and Chicago. I think are going to be the three. Because people, I was looking back, like Denver's wins have not come in spot. Like they beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. They were 2.5-point favorites over the Browns. Like none of their wins came in spots where they were really big favorites. So I think everyone's going to have Denver, and that's going to be the one where
Zeppeli.
If you're at the end game and you really want to try to win, probably just don't pick Denver.
People should go over to
Never pick Denver in Survivor.
People should go over to reviewjournal.com and check out the interview Todd Dewey did with Sean Perry. Dropped today.
He got Perry.
Nice. Perry said, these quotes are great. First of all, he said that he would chop if he got $2 million because he believes he has an advantage. He also said, with all due respect, I'm the best.
How many people are left? Wait a minute. We
so
can't,
right now I think there's 11.
We can't skip over the sentence
10.
that was just uttered. Okay. So we're talking about...
He wants double the average equity right now.
Yeah, he said, why would I chop when I have an edge? He said, with all due respect, I'm the best bettor in the world. There's no way I'm ever chopping. I wish you guys all the best. I have intimate knowledge of Sean Perry because he is a poker player. If you guys know poker, Ralph Perry, he's Ralph Perry's son. Sean Perry spent a lot of time playing Poker Go events. He is absolutely obnoxiously out of control. It's kind of incredible, but
when
also
you're the best
extremely
gambler,
polarizing.
When you're the best gambler in the world,
he's out of his mind. All he does now when he comes into the Poker Go studio, like once in a blue moon, is talk about all the sports betting that he's doing. Like he's got videos on his social media of like literally going up to the cage at Sportsbook with a suitcase full of bricks of cash, like unloading. This guy doesn't give a fuck. Like it's incredible. So good luck. This is, for those of you, the listeners out there that are no poker, this is getting to like a big final table with like Daniel Negreanu and trying to ask for a chop. No way is he ever chopping. Because first of all, he's really good. Second of all, he has too much goddamn money to ever chop with you. So he's just going to let it ride. This is what these players are faced with now.
Say. When you're rich, you don't need it. Who cares if he goes
He's got money. He's got money.
Allegedly.
He might not have money.
I was going to say.
He might not have money, but he's gambler to the max. He knows he has an edge in terms of having the Jaguars. So he's going to let it ride and try and win the 9.6 million or whatever. He does not care. And he's also going to try and get money down along the way, I'm assuming. Like he's that type of guy. So for him, this is a dream spot.
What is his entry name in
Golden
Circa?
Boy.
So Golden Boy. When you guys see that graphic drop on Saturday from Circa Sports on Twitter, Golden Boy is Sean Perry, whether or not you're sweating him or anti-sweating him. That will be his selection this week. And that's it for the Week 16 podcast. I cannot wait to sweat these bad quarterbacks. I cannot wait for ODB to get into the group chat and bash every single one of us. Best of luck to everybody out there in your betting ventures, whether or not you're in your Survivor or in a pick'em pool. Yeah, good luck. Follow these guys on Twitter at Breck Olson, COLLSON, at Monowara, NUWWARH, and at Donnie_Peters. I'm at Rich C. Ryan. Next time I speak to you, I'll be stateside. Setup will still be a little janky, still be on the road, but we'll hopefully give you some winners. But until then, peace. Told you about the Rams. Out.